Welcome to Sincerely V. I am Vanessa Jan, and I'm kicking off Breast Cancer Awareness Month with my guest. She is a survivor, Patricia Diasechu, also known as Abna. I want to thank my loyal sponsors, Printex, Noella Hair, Bello Edu, and of course, Maestro Restaurant for making this season possible. For those who may not know, breast cancer is the most common cancer in women, both in developed and less developed worlds. And that is why I have my guest here today, Patricia, to educate all of you on breast cancer and, of course, breast cancer survival. Hello, Patricia. How are you?
Fine, thank you. And
you look amazing.
Thank you. It's the grace of God.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Okay, so we're going to get straight into the conversation. Like I stated in the beginning, you are a breast cancer survivor. When were you diagnosed?
About 7 years ago. I was 52 then. And stage 2.
Stage 2. And how was it initially detected?
That is an amazing story on its own.
Okay.
I wasn't sick. There was nothing. I was in perfect health. And normally I don't do hospitals because I don't get sick.
Right.
And I only do hospitals when I'm going to evangelize and pray for the sick. That's the only time I do hospitals. But my big sister is a doctor, so she said, look, Patricia, you need to have a checkup, just a general checkup. There's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
So she gave me this, she wrote a whole, take it to MedLab and just general checkup.
Right.
You know something? I didn't go. And a year later, there was a bag. I put it, she gave me in a bag. Mm-hmm. So it was a bag I hadn't used for a year.
Right.
And I picked it up. I said, I'm going to use this bag today. So I'm going through the stuff in it, and I see this, and I said, okay, I'm going to go have this checkup. But there's an oil stain, and I need to get it rewritten by another doctor.
Right.
I'm not going to go to my big sister because she's going to scream on me. So I went to another friend.
Okay.
So he writes a whole lot of things for me. Mm-hmm. He says you can do some of it in my hospital, but the rest of it you're going to have to go to MedLab to do it.
Okay.
So I get up and I open his door. I'm just stepping out. Then I say, wait a minute, Dr. Timing, I've been having this, this feeling under my left armpit like, I'm getting a boil, but it's not a boil. Right. It really, there's nothing, it's not very painful or anything.
Right.
So he calls the nurse, he says, take off your shirt, and then he feels it, and he says, I'm going to add a mammogram to your list of dues, so go and have it done immediately.
Wow.
So I go off to MedLab. The mammogram gets done, but the doctor comes back and says, I think we need to scan the actual place.
Wow.
So it's scanned, and the doctor at MedLab looks at it and says, well, according to what we're seeing, there is a lump, a tumor, but it looks benign.
Right.
It doesn't look cancerous. So here I go happily. So I take the results back to the doctor.
Right. The first doctor.
The first doctor.
Right.
He looks at it and says, well, it doesn't look cancerous. There's something. It doesn't look cancerous, but it's a tumor. It needs to be taken out anyway. So I'm going to refer you to a surgeon in Kolebu.
Okay.
So he calls the surgeon right there. He actually is the head of surgery.
Okay.
Dr. Clegg Lamte. So he says, come over. I go the next day. He looks at it and he says, according to what the scan and the mammogram are saying, it doesn't look like it's cancer.
Wow.
But, and that was what saved my life, he said, but I like to be thorough.
Yes.
So we're going to have a biopsy and we're going to send it to South Africa. And that but saved my life.
Wow.
Because he said, I agree with the two doctors. I don't think it comes back from South Africa 2 weeks later. This one, the biopsy, it wasn't sent through MedLab. It was the other one, MDS Lancet or something.
Okay.
So they call me, I'm at work, and they call me, your results are in, come for it. You know what, they called me in the afternoon. I didn't bother. I asked them, what time do you close?
Right.
And they said, oh, we'll be closing at about 7:30.
Right.
So I get there just when they're closing.
Wow.
Pick it up. Just sit in the car, drive off, get home.
You didn't.
All alone. I wasn't bothered.
Oh, okay.
I opened it,
Right.
read it. I'm going down and it says, malignant tumor. So I look at it again and I say, who, me?
Right.
That was all I said. And you know something? I just, when, I didn't tell anybody. So the next day I went to see the first doctor, Dr. Timmy.
Right.
He says, no, I didn't go back to him.
Okay.
I went back to Kolebu
Okay.
to see Dr. Clegg.
That was the second doctor.
That was the second
Okay.
doctor, the professor. So I go back there and they tell me, oh, he's traveled, but he'll be back on Monday.
Right.
And then one nursing sister is looking at me and I'm so what you could see. I said, isn't there anybody I can see? She says, there's another consultant professor. You
Yeah.
could see him.
Wow.
I see him. So I'm not going to mention his name because he
Right.
wasn't very nice.
Okay.
He wasn't very nice. He reads it and he looks at me. We're going to cut off your breast and give you chemotherapy.
Wow.
So I looked at him and I said, no, my breast is not going to cut off.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do with that breast? This is somebody who's just learned they've got cancer.
Right.
And you are being so nasty.
Right.
I mean, like, so you know what? I shut up. So he kept on talking.
But at this point, had you told any family members?
No.
It was still only you knew.
It was still only me.
Okay.
So you know what happened? He just realized I wasn't going to speak. I was so shocked at the way he behaved that I just
Right.
kept quiet. So he says, okay, your first call is Clegg Lamptey. He'll be back on Monday. Come see him. So I came and he's I'm just praying that God will give us more medical doctors like this
Right.
in this country. He's wonderful. He actually practically wept for me, took his time, explained everything to me
Right.
and the process. He said, we're going to cut off. I said, you know something? I read the thing. It says there's no cancer in my breast. It's in my lymph nodes. He said, yes, but it has to move from your breast to your lymph nodes.
Right.
And I said, how come this? He says, it's a medical, it's a mystery that medical science cannot explain. Yours is one of the rare ones where it's not in your breast,
Right.
but it's in your lymph nodes under
Okay.
your, my left armpit. So I said, well, then why do you have to cut my breast? And it was like, that's the protocol. And I said, you know what I told him? I looked him in the face. It's a very nice man. I said, I don't have that covenant with Jesus Christ. My breast is not going to be cut.
And you know what? We're going to get more into your story after this quick break. So much to learn. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And here's another fact. The low survival rates in less developed countries can be explained mainly by the lack of early detection programs. I'll be back after this short break, but make sure to enjoy Sincerely Printex.
Girl, you late.
I know, I'm sorry.
Okay, you look cute.
Thank you. You know, everyone thinks when you rock a bustier, it has to be simple, but with Printex fabric, you can zhuzh things up like I did.
Okay.
All right, so everyone, if you're able to recreate this look, hashtag SincerelyV, tweet me at Vanessa_Jan. You may just win a prize. And of course, thank you to Cobwear for this super cute bustier. Welcome back to Sincerely V, Real Women, Real Voices. And before we went to break, Patricia was telling her story of finding out she had breast cancer, or more so, it wasn't exactly breast cancer.
It was.
But it was under...
Well, it's called is a pectoral or something. They have a
Okay.
name for it, but it's connected this way. So they call it breast cancer.
Okay.
Yes, it is breast cancer. What they're saying is it has to move from here to this
Right.
place. So I asked the doctor, how come there's nothing here?
Right.
And it's here.
Right.
What they're saying is it moves from here to there. And he said it's a mystery that medical science cannot explain. They actually told me the same thing in the States, the doctors,
Right.
where they don't have an explanation for it.
Okay.
So it's breast cancer, but
it moves.
there was nothing here.
Right.
Still, they've never found anything here after 7 years.
Wow.
Every year I go for a mammogram. It used to be every 3 months, and then it went to 6 months. Now it's once a year.
Okay.
And it's been 7 years, and they haven't found anything.
Is there any family history of
No.
breast cancer? None.
No, not at all.
Wow.
Not at all. But you know what happened? When I told the doctor that I told him I'm not going to have my breast cut because I don't have that covenant with Jesus Christ.
Right.
He said, oh, he tried to convince me. He said, oh, afterwards we're going to give you a breast job, and they come from the States. It's going to be free. The doctors come and do it for free, and your tummy is going to be very flat because they're going to take
Right.
they're going to take the flesh
Flesh
from
from
here
here.
and then build you up.
Right.
I said, no. If I want to lose that sort of weight, I'll go to the gym for a year.
Exactly.
So I left. He was very nice, but I left. I did run. He said, go run these tests and everything. Let's
Right.
see that it hasn't spread.
Right.
I ran a few tests in Ghana. They said it hadn't spread. So what I did was I went on the net
Yes.
and started finding out
More info.
more info about breast cancer.
Right.
And I had just, I locked myself up.
And
What I did.
you still hadn't told anyone, or had you at this point?
I only told Auntie Dora. She was the only one I told, and I said, don't, and she didn't even tell her husband, who's my cousin.
Right.
She didn't tell anybody. I said, I'm not ready to come out with this. Because, you know, it's a bit of a shock, and you're wondering. So I said, let me just go to God.
Right.
I'm going to find out what this whole thing is about. So I think I told my niece,
Okay.
I said, get on there. She didn't know what she was doing. Find out everything you can on breast cancer, print it and bring it to me. So she brought me some stuff she had printed. I didn't even have time to read it. I just put it on my bedside table. I said, nobody should disturb me. For 3 days, leave me alone. So I went on a fast.
Okay.
And you know what? On the second night, it was just on water for 3 days. On the second night, about 2 a.m., I woke up and I was speaking certain words from my mouth. I repeated it the first time. So the second time, and the same thing was coming out the third time.
Right.
So I reached for
stuff
the
that your niece
nearest
had
paper.
found.
No, that way, a piece of paper,
Okay.
and there was a pen because I wanted to write it down.
Okay.
And what I was saying was, let every data that has been taken out of the genetic program in my cells be restored. I just wrote it down,
Right.
put it back, and I fell asleep. So when I woke up the next morning, I picked it up and I read it. At the time, I didn't have any understanding.
Right.
I didn't know the human body is put together like it's a computer.
Right,
The
it
human
is.
body is actually, since then I've learned so much. But when I turned the piece of paper that I had written on, it was something my niece had printed
Right.
for me off the net. And you know what it said? It said John Hopkins University
Right.
had done a test.
Okay.
What they did was they took carrot juice and put it on a breast cancer culture.
Okay.
You know, in a dish.
Right.
And when they put the carrot juice on the breast cancer cells, what it did was the cancer committed suicide and it died. It's called apoptosis.
Okay,
All it simply means
apoptosis.
apoptosis.
Okay.
All it simply means is abnormal cells, cancerous cells, commit suicide and they die. I didn't know anything before.
Right.
This is plain carrot juice. What they're saying is the beta carotene in the carrot juice causes it turns on a program,
Right.
a genetic program, and it's called apoptosis. The cancer cells commit suicide and they
Okay.
die. And then following was another report from Ben Gurion University in Israel.
Right.
They also took lemongrass juice, lemongrass
Okay.
tea. I mean, you just lemongrass. yeah.
Right.
And they put it on live cancer cells. And it turned that program on again, apoptosis. And they committed suicide and they died. So I came out of there, went straight, bought a juicer.
Yeah.
I didn't have lemongrass in my house. I just went and got some from a friend, planted some. So I started juicing.
Wow.
But then I came out now and I was ready to tell my family.
Yes.
So
And how was that? Leading up to having to tell family and friends that at a point you were dealing with this on your own, and now you were going to get the support,
Yeah, that
the
was when
extra
the-
support that was definitely needed.
But you know what? I came out, I heard clearly from God that I was not going to die. So the fear was gone. So
Okay.
here I am, I come out, and everybody's like, they all, you know, everybody, you know, people hear cancer
Yeah,
and they
it's
think
already
death. So everybody was
afraid.
and sort of like crying. So I said, you know what? Don't feel sorry for me. I'm fine.
Yes.
I have spoken to God and He says I am going to live.
We're going to take another quick break, and you're going to continue your story of survival. It's intense, and it's so inspiring, because when we come back, I'll also let everyone know of how I saw you and how strong you were amongst everyone else. So we're going to take a quick break. You're tuned into Sincerely V, real women, real voices. Welcome back to Sincerely V, Real Women, Real Voices. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so of course we have to educate you. And Patricia was just telling us of her journey, and we got right up to the point where she spoke of going to the States to get treatment. You said you didn't have enough funds, but everyone rallied together.
Yeah, it was amazing. My siblings,
Yes.
and I'm really grateful for the family, the Jasich family, and for my bigger family, the Furiata family, and for friends. I I am just grateful. It was awesome. Old friends. I mean, and I had so much support.
Right. Yeah, I wanted to find out more about your
My
treatment process. So
Yeah.
briefly, what you went through.
Yeah. I had surgery and I recovered so fast from the surgery. But then the chemotherapy came up, and that's a nasty one. I didn't even have a headache from cancer. If they hadn't the if they hadn't diagnosed me saying I had cancer, I wasn't sick. There was nothing. And that's the dangerous thing about cancer. That's
Yes.
one word that's the dangerous thing about cancer.
Yes.
If it makes you sick, it means unless there's a miracle from God, you're going to die immediately.
Right.
But you're walking around healthy and you have cancer. But the chemo was bad.
What obstacles did you face during your treatment process, during chemo?
Okay, with chemotherapy, they would give it to me Thursday afternoon. I'm fine. Friday, I'm fine. But Friday evening, I start slowing down. Then Saturday morning, Vanessa, I wake up, I won't talk to anybody. I will not eat anything. I will not have my bath. I zonk out and go into another world. I'm just like a zombie.
Right.
I was just like a zombie, and I won't eat. So I won't eat for about a whole week. So within that week, I'm losing about 7 kilos or something a week? Yes, and then one morning I woke up and I saw some of my hair was falling off.
From the chemo?
So from the chemo. So everybody else was asleep. I just took a scissors, cut it all off, and then raised it. I said, if it's going to go off, I'm going to do it myself.
Right.
So they wake up, and everybody says, ooh, what happened? Then your mother walks in. And she says, Gandhi, and everybody laughs. So that was my name with my Sakura hair.
Right.
But the chemo was nasty. First of all, my white blood cell count dropped.
And that's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Yes.
So we went to the hospital and they said, you know what? No kids around you. No public transport. No fresh like salads or anything. And no public transport and kids and pets and salads, because if I catch the tiniest infection,
Yes.
it will take me
will
out.
spread,
You die.
yeah.
They told me you will die. So it's not the cancer that was going to kill me, but the chemo was going to kill me.
Right.
And then the second time, so I said, I don't want any more. They said no, they gave it to me the second time. The third time, they halved the dosage. And then I fainted. Otherwise, I just took about half the chemo, not even
Right.
half what, yeah. Otherwise, I'd have stayed in the States for probably a whole year more if I'd finished. So they said, okay, you've got chemo fatigue, so we'll take you off the chemo. I'm telling you, I lost so much weight. I lost my joy. I hadn't cried through all of this. But one day, I woke up in the morning when I was being given the chemo, and I had a nosebleed. And I cried. That was the day I cried. I just looked. That was the only time I felt so. I kicked it off.
Right.
But then I felt so. I said, oh, how did I get here? And I cried.
Right.
And the doctors and the nurses in the States were so wonderful. I must say, the chemo was nasty. So the doctors told me, okay, you go and have radiation and then come back
Right.
and have the rest of the chemo. And I told Levy, I was with her, I said, I'm not coming back. So the day after I finished my radiation, that was easy for me, but I got burns.
Okay.
You know? The day after from the radiation, I got burns. The day after my radiation, I came back to Ghana. I'm just getting to a point.
Okay.
And then, of course, I had to go back every 3 months.
Yes, you did.
When I got back, the oncologist who said to come back and have all that chemo, I went through all the tests, everything. He said, you know what, Patricia, you were right. You didn't need any more chemo. And I've been going back for 7 years,
Right.
and I'm cancer free.
Yes.
But
yes.
there's something I must tell you, my message to women out
Yes,
there.
that was my last question. What is your message to women in the community?
One, it's not about the treatment. Afterwards, it's very important. I give the glory to God, but He taught me certain things on alternative medicine.
Yes.
You need to change your lifestyle. Exercise is key. Your diet is number one. There are things you need to stop eating, minimize, but there's one thing that's very important. You need living food.
Right.
And what is living food? Uncooked food. And the easiest way to get uncooked food is through juices. So I juice vegetable juice, and then I juice everything. I'll take carrots, I'll take carrots, dandelion, cucumber, parsley, apple, everything. I juice everything, garden eggs, everything. It's living. And when you juice it, within an hour, consume it at once. You juice enough, because otherwise the oxidation process starts and it's dying.
Okay.
But you need the living food.
Okay, so
vegetable juice,
change of lifestyle, exercise,
yes,
fresh juices.
Yes. But the most important thing is, you know what?
What?
Don't keep bitterness and unforgiveness in you. The Bible said it, most of us ignored it, but now John Hopkins has done another study and they call it toxic emotions.
Okay.
When they tested the blood of people who were going through extreme anger, pain as in emotional pain, unforgiveness and bitterness, and what they found out was, when you're going through these emotions, your own body, emits poisons that poisons you, and that's what it turns into cancer, it turns into diabetes, it turns into a whole lot of things.
Wow.
So that's another thing that you need to do.
Yes.
Because if you change your lifestyle, do everything, and you don't learn how to forgive people, how to let go, no bitterness, no resentment and anger, you're going to die anyway.
Right.
But you see, in the end, it's God who heals, because you can go through all of this. People have gone through alternative medicine.
Right.
Steve Jobs did all of them.
Right.
They did chemo, they did everything, and you'll die.
Right.
So my message is that get back to your Creator, get back to Jesus Christ. Live for Christ. Give your life to Jesus Christ and let Him be your healer. That is the ultimate. And He will teach you, because every cancer is different. Breast cancer, there's so many.
Right.
Mine didn't respond to hormones.
Right.
So they couldn't give me Herceptin and a whole lot of things.
Right.
Yeah. It didn't respond to anything except one particular drug, and even that they just said they just gave it to me in the chemo. Yeah. So you should find out what exactly is. So diagnosis, even if you're going to do alternative medicine, you better go and get the correct diagnosis.
Yes.
It is key.
Yes.
If you find out you have cancer, don't just sit around. Pray, ask God what to do.
Get the support you need.
Get the support you need.
Yes.
And pray for support.
Yes.
I had it. I thank all my family, my friends, my siblings, the people who work for me. They were wonderful. Everybody, and my church, my pastors, and all those people who loved me through it and still love me.
Because you are a survivor. And
7 years.
7 years. Thank you so much for telling your story. It's definitely inspiring. It will definitely open the eyes of many, and mammograms are very important. Everyone needs to know that. And of course, like Patricia said, changing your lifestyle. A little change can make a drastic difference. So thank you so much, Patricia.
There's another thing. Let me just slip this in.
30
just
seconds.
Okay. There is a blood test for cancer. I don't know if they give it in Ghana.
Okay.
So there also is a blood test apart from the mammogram and then having a biopsy if you think you have cancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Like I said, we had to kick off Breast Cancer Awareness Month, making you all aware. Thank you again to my guest, Patricia. You have been amazing. And of course, to my sponsors, from Printex, Bella Edu, Nuella Hair, and of course, Maestro Restaurant for making this all possible. Sincerely V, real women, real voices.